medium format film photography cameras are way too big for me. Hi guys, welcome to the real volume 8. Yesterday I know I said, I kept saying volume 8, no, it was volume 7. Sorry, oops. Okay. Today we start talking about medium format 120 film cameras. And the first thing I hear all the time, Carmine, those cameras are too big. This is a medium format film camera. This is a 35 millimeter film camera. All right. Hi, guys. Carmine from New York here. Another episode, volume 8 of Carmine from New York tries to teach photography. All right. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. My my long-time subscribers, they tell me, Carmine, hold this up. See if it helps. Carmine, ask the people nicely to subscribe. All right, I'm asking you guys nicely. Please subscribe. Right? I think the button is over here. Okay. I got some crazy photography friends. I think they've been in the darkroom too long. Breathing in fixer. All right. So, I always try and remember this. If you want to contact me, my email is blackandwhitephoto@aol.com. My website that has my photographs, thousands of them, including the gear that I use, the location of the shot, the date on 99% of the pictures, is carminetaverna.com. All right. Free website. I don't sell anything. Not even a mug. All right. Now, medium format, 120 size cameras, film cameras. All right. The natural progression when you start your journey, your beautiful artistic journey into the art of photography, the progression is almost 100% of the time you're going to start with a film 35 millimeter camera. Not this one. This is a 35 millimeter film camera. It's the Nikon F4 professional body camera with a humongous extra battery grip that also lets you hold the camera steady. And if you're a big jooch like me and you got big paws, all right, fits nice. Okay. We've done 35 millimeter film cameras for 7 episodes, 7 volumes. Now we must, by artistic sake, information sake, knowledge sake, and as an instructor, it's my duty to tell you all about the world of medium format, 120 size cameras, photography, the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. 120 size film. Okay. Let me just hold up a couple of boxes. All right. This is 120 size film. Two different types. Okay, 2 different types. This one, this is the Arista. I mentioned it before. This is the Arista EDU Ultra 100 ISO or ASA if you're over 60 years old. Okay. This is a good starter film. All right, to get your feet wet. And also, I use it because this 100 speed, it's a little in-house professional trade secret. This 100 speed film, all right, is made in Europe. just like all the Arista brand films made in Europe. But the 100, let me tell you something. This is some ultra fine grain, beautiful stuff at a cost of $4.89 a roll. $4.89 a roll. All right. This one, all right, this is Ilford HP5 Plus black and white film. The ISO on this is 400. This is beautiful stuff. This is beautiful stuff. This is a step up. You know, everything in life has good, better, and best. Okay? This is the good, Arista. This is the best, Ilford HP5. Where's it made? In the UK. Now, this cost $6.99 a roll. This costs $4.89 a roll. All right? $4.89, $6.99. All right? It's like $2. $2 more for this. When do you buy this? When you got to shoot something special. When do you shoot this? Every other time. When you're having fun, when you're building a portfolio, when you're trying out a new camera, when you're trying out a new lens, when you want to have fun. But when you want beautiful, low grain, super nice contrast photographs. This is faster. This is 400 speed. This is 100 speed. This has a little bit more grain, but the contrast is nicer. All right. Now, before we get into the cameras, you need the film. All right. Once again, like I said in another episode, where does Carmine from New York get his film? And I mentioned this before. I'm not affiliated. I don't get anything from them. I'm not an employee. I'm not a past employee. I'm not a stockholder, shareholder, door holder. I don't do nothing. All right. But I got to pass on good information. I'm not going to pass on to you guys bad information. Lead you to a store that I'm going to get a kickback, free film. Nothing. All right. And another thing. Anything I say on my channel is from experience. Okay? All right. So, where does Carmine buy his film? The website is freestylephoto.biz. B-I-Z. freestylephoto.biz. One word. freestylephoto.biz. All right? They're over in California. They have been so wonderful over the years. Their prices, they don't price gouge. They give a fair price for a fair item. Their shipping, they have a great shipping department. I don't know those guys, but I know their work because when I get a box in the mail and the film is in a bag tied tight to keep it away from moisture, God forbid, a box will lay on your porch in the pouring rain. The film's going to be dry. Because they're smart at freestylephoto.biz. They put the film in a plastic bag and they make a big knot. And the plastic bags that they use must cost them a fortune because they're thick ply, whatever, thick mill plastic bags. Freestylephoto.biz. Okay, once again, $4.89, $6.99. $6.99. Every place else I've seen these films, they're $2 more a roll. Don't pay more than $6.99 a roll for HP5. Don't pay more than $4.89 a roll for Arista 100. Okay, that's the film. You know where to buy it. freestylephoto.biz. Now, let's talk about this wonderful format called medium format. Before I hold up any cameras, you got to know that obviously the negative is going to be larger. It's significantly larger. I have with us today examples of the negatives. Okay, medium format, 120 size film. 6x6. Here's the beauty about medium format 120 film. Depending on the camera, the negative could be 6x6 Smaller, could be 4.5, could be larger, 6x7. The frame size is dependent upon the model of the camera. 35 millimeter, right? You get 35 millimeter size frame. Now, yes, there are cameras that take half frame. So a 36 roll of film, 36 exposure roll of film will give you 72 pictures. Tiny. The frame will be half the size of a 35 millimeter frame. What do you get? More pictures, 72 pictures per roll. What do you lose? Sharpness, grain. You can only enlarge it so big without it looking like garbage. All right. Let's look at it compared to, this is 35 millimeter film. Now it's hard to look at it through these glassine. I only store my negatives in glassine envelopes, not plastic sheets with the sleeves. No. Because you don't know what's going to happen to that page. Could get in a humid area or whatever, and the plastic sticks to the negative, because the negative is plastic too, and you try and slide 6 frames this long, 6 frames of film into another plastic sleeve, it jams up, and no, we don't do that. Glassine, Glassine, and then I mark each one what it is. This is the 105th. This is the 105th roll. Camera, Nikon F4. Whoop. The date, October the 18th, 21. The film, Acros. Oh, no. Sorry. There is a film, Acros. The location of this shot, across from Mount Loretto. It's in New York. The developer was D76 1:1. How long? 10.5 minutes. The film, Arista 100. All right, that's the 35 millimeter. The one I'm going to open up for the 120 example, the camera was the KIEV 60. If you guys were watching every volume, you know I've talked heavily about the KIEV from the Ukraine. The film was T-Max 100 from Kodak. It's a good film, not my favorite. The developer, D76 1+1 for 9.5 minutes. When? September 22nd. Where? Great Kills in New York, the beach. Shot the clouds with a yellow filter, red filter. All right. Now, you got to be serious about your film. All right. Film's delicate. I only handle film wearing these vinyl gloves. Where's the box? Now, it's a whole nother lesson about how to handle negatives. All right. These are, I'm not sponsored by these guys. Don't get smart. These gloves I buy from Glove Works, vinyl gloves, extra large, because Carmine from New York, extra large. Now, here's what's important about these gloves. Powder free. Powder free. Why? If you don't pay attention and you buy the wrong glove, and it's full of powder to make it go on easier, your negatives, you have just dirtied your negatives. Now, when another thing I forgot to mention about my experience. In the 70s, I worked for a commercial film developer. He only developed film from the wedding photography trade and the quinceañera photographer trade. Professionals only, no amateur film. And every day, this film lab, private, in fact, there was no markings on the outside of the building, would get 300 or so rolls of film. Primarily 120, but there was some 35. And this company that I worked for, we would, that's my job, develop the film in gigantic 35-foot long automated processing tanks. You've seen them on YouTube. put the film on in the dark. The racks go up, go into one tank, go up, go into another tank, aerated with nitrogen, blah, blah, blah. Then take the negatives, put them in glassine envelopes, but this was commercial. The roll of film would be uncut, and it would go into a long sleeve. Where's my other hand? A long sleeve that would fit the entire uncut roll of film. It's all automated. It would go into the sleeve with the tags from the photographer. Right, he has a special code tag, and it would go upstairs to the printers, and they had commercial enlargers. Oh my gosh, you guys have to Google what a commercial enlarger looks like. It has nothing to, does not look like the enlargers you guys remember, where you had the enlarger head and then there was a pole or a square tube, and you would adjust it like this and use your green focuser to focus it. No, this looked like a table, right? It was a table with hundreds of buttons and dials to adjust the color, sharpness, right? You took your negative, right, from the wedding or the quinceañera, and you put it on the table. It was like the enlarger was upside down. The film, the negative, went in front of you, nice and flat. The paper was up on an overhang that was above the negative, that was above the table. And you lined up the picture, right? All these professional tables had a light box underneath it, right? It had the grids where it should be, okay? Computerized a lot. Now, this is the 70s, so the computers were gigantic, all built into this machine. Each machine was in its own room. The paper was not sheets of paper. The paper was on rolls. And it depended on, did the photographer order 11 by 14, 8 by 10, proofs, right? The machine, the enlarging machine, had all these rolls, 100-foot rolls of photographic professional grade paper. So anyway, with the dials and the foot pedals, he would take the negative, right? The computer would say, color adjust this way, that way. The computer would figure out the exposure, right? Depending on the density of the negative. Autofocus, right? But then here's my point. It goes back to these gloves. The enlarger, the printmaker, would have to. He was in charge of cleaning the negative. You don't want to send beautiful wedding photographs out. Now, this is before digital, right? You don't want to send out with dust, hair, fuzz on the bride's face. So they would use 3 times the size of this. These are anti-static film brushes, right? And you would wipe every frame. The printer had to wipe the front 10 times. Turn it over. The emulsion side, scratch is easy. Wipe the emulsion side 10 times. Anti-static. If you use a regular brush, to clean negatives, you're building up electrical charges and you're making it more attractive to dust. Anyway, he would finish his job of all those printing all those photographs. The printer himself, right now, he's in his darkroom. It's okay. It was okay to have I forget what it was. It was a dark orange. See, with color paper, you have to be careful. I don't think you can have any light. I forget. It was either very dim, orange or red. Doesn't matter. He would open up the top of his machine. He would cut with a razor the exposed paper from the unexposed paper. Take that roll, put it into a special paper bag, light-proof bag, fold it like 10 times, right? He would tape it, write his name, the job number, the date, and he would hand deliver it. Not through a messenger in the building. No, he would bring it down like he was holding a child, bring it down to us, the processors, and we would load that roll onto an automated color paper developing tank / machine. And the way it worked was, you took this roll, let's say it's a 16 by 20 photograph, right? So the paper was 16 inches wide. And you put a plate on one side of the roll, picture exactly like a paper towel roll. You put a plate on one side of the paper towel roll, another plate on the other side of the paper towel roll, and you put it in the beginning of the machine. This is also in the dark room, right? And then you lift up the first. He would give you leader. The printer would give you 2 feet of leader. It would behoove him to give you a lot of leader because this is his work. All right. Then you would take a clip, and stainless steel clip that was long, and it had these 3 prongs on either side of it. You take the paper, you fold it into this strip of metal, right? You make a nice bend, you turn it, you make a nice crease. Now the machine, the developing tank, it's always running because this is 50 feet long, and at the end of the developing machine is a 9-foot wide stainless steel drum that's drying the prints as it comes off. Don't forget, this is a continuous roll. It goes up. By the time the paper goes up on this, the drum is turning at the same speed as the developing tank as it goes up, right? The tank, the drum, right? The paper picture side is up facing the sky. The paper is touching the drum, and you see all the steam, all the water evaporating from the paper. And as it comes off, it gets rolled up on another paper towel roll. Okay? But to back up, so you take these 3 prongs, you clip them on these nylon straps, right? You have to do it. You got to do this right. 3 clips on the strap. You have to get it straight, because if you send it through cockeyed, it would fall off, and all that work that the printer did was laying on the bottom of the tank, and he had to shoot it over again. And he would go directly to your supervisor and tell on you. Rightfully so, because now he has to reprint and re-clean and redust all the photographs that were on that roll. How many were on a roll? About 45 16 by 20s on one roll of paper for the prints. So this all started with the gloves. All right. So when you handle negatives, you want to wear these. Okay? Powderless vinyl gloves. Yeah, your hands are going to sweat. So be it. Now, here's an alternative that we used to use at the lab. Some people really cannot tolerate wearing gloves. So, there's something called a finger cot. C-O-T. Finger cot. And what these are individual fingers to cover each finger. Okay? To cover one finger. And you put it on your finger without the glove, of course. You wouldn't have a glove on. And you just put it on. There you go. And it would cover one finger. Some people only covered their index finger and their thumb for handling negatives, right? Once in a while, you get busy and, oops, now this finger, that's not protected. Oh, now your fingerprints are all over that. What's going to happen? The printer's going to come downstairs holding the negative with your fingerprint on it that he can't wipe off. And now he has to try and get rid of the fingerprint with a special solvent. he don't like to use it because it leaves scratches that he has to fix later. Now, do you know what there was before Lightroom and Photoshop? There was a woman or a man that would have paintbrushes with like 2 hairs on it, and they had an array of dried color palettes, dried colors on a palette that they would usually put it in their mouth, get saliva, dip it into, let's say they were covering a red area, and they would have to touch up the scratch, touch up the fingerprint, the dust, by hand. This is how photos were retouched. It was a skill. It was a trade, which is now gone because of Photoshop, Lightroom, etc. Now, the gloves. The gloves. No powder, number 1. That'll leave powder all over your negatives. Alternative, finger cot. C-O-T. What's the problem? Why don't I like them? Because these are the extra large. This band, right, that goes around your finger feels like it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Ugh. You're better off just wearing the whole glove. This way, they're all covered. You're all set. All right. You want to know the worst thing to use? The worst thing to use, which is actually worse than no protection, you're better off using your bare hands than this product. And you see it every day on YouTube in any kind of film handling video like the darkroom. All right, guys making prints. All right, or these cotton gloves. These, in fact, they're sold. They're sold as negative handling gloves, all cotton. See these? See these gloves? Okay, these are regular cotton gloves. These are brand new, out of the bag. These generate so much lint and dust and fibers, you can't win. These will win. You can dust. Now, picture this. You have these on. Because you don't want fingerprints. Oh, it won't leave fingerprints. What they will leave behind is billions of particles of lint. Lint. It's all cotton. This is all cotton fiber. It's not the manufacturer's fault. This is a cotton glove. You bought it. He doesn't know what you're going to do with it. Is it for negative handling? Okay, if you don't want fingerprints. He didn't say dustless. This isn't going to leave any dust and fibers. This, wearing white or any color cotton glove to handle negatives, is the biggest mistake you will ever make when you're dealing with film. All right? I just keep these around when I'm handling a camera, if I'm cleaning a camera, right? Okay. Put the gloves away, right? Finger cot. This is the second best choice. Is a finger cot. Best choice. Number 1. Not expensive. GloveWorks vinyl glove. Powderless. Powderless. Without powder. Okay? So, all this time just to open this envelope of negatives. Okay? All right. This is 35 millimeter. Let me see if I can get this nice here for you. Maybe with my hand. Okay. That's the emulsion side. Okay. This is the plastic side. Okay. Now, this is what... Hold on. Ooh. Time to hold up the subscribe button. We'll use the back of it. Okay. There you go. 35 millimeter negatives. Black and white negatives. I'm holding this up for a reason. the size. Okay? 35 millimeter black and white film. It's been around forever. Thanks to who? Oscar Barnack. Oscar Barnack eventually worked for Leica, or Litz, L-E-I-T-Z, before it was known as Leica. And he came up with this format. He also came up with, why is it 36 exposures? Quick background. I love photography history. Oscar Barnack originally was involved in the motion picture film business. Back in the day, they had no way to know until after the film the movie was shot, and that whole 500-foot reel of 35 millimeter film was exposed, if they had the right exposure, if there was a problem with the film. They didn't know. So all that work, acting, setting up lights, hiring people, right? They wouldn't know if it was coming out any good until after they developed it. A whole, I don't know, say 15 minutes worth of a movie. So he developed a way. He said, I got to come up with a camera that's only going to use a little bit of the film stock. And I'll put it in a little miniature movie camera. And I'll film it. I'll film, I don't know, what is that? 2 seconds of the movie with the same lighting, actors, time of day. Go develop that film. Come back and say, okay, we're good. We're good. Good lighting, good exposure, good f-stop, good film stock. Okay? Now, 36 exposures. How did that come to be? Well, Oscar Barnack in the darkroom, when he took that big 500-foot roll of 35 millimeter film, and he held one end, and he pulled it out. Let me see if I get my hands in there. Where's my hand? Here. Right? When he held it out like this, he stretched his hands all the way. Right? He held both ends. From this hand to this hand. Because he couldn't stretch his hands anymore. That's how long the film he would use to test in his movie camera. Okay? It's 36 exposures as we know it today. That's how we got 36 exposures. Because that's how wide he could stretch his arms. A little bit of tidbit there. All right? That led to still camera, Leica, Oscar Barnack, film camera. Thank you, Leica. Don't forget. It was the PhD, the guy that is the boss now over at Leica. He came up with a term, a phrase that I use every day. And the phrase is, only a printed photo is a photograph. Everything else is just data. Right? This is just data. Digital camera on your CF card, your SD card, it's just data. Your cell phone, it's just data. If you don't print it, it's just data. A printed photograph. Hold on. We got an example here. All right. A printed photo is a photograph. These are drawing. They just came off the printer, the Canon Pro 100 printer. We'll get into that down the road and why the Canon Pro 100 photo printer is the only one to get. And I would snap one up now if you can, because they already replaced it. So finding a new one is going to be hard. 35 millimeter. Remember that this volume is about medium format. Now let's open up. And we're going to compare and contrast 120 to 35 millimeter. Okay. That is a 120 size medium format 6x6 negative. This is, well, let's see now. This is 35 millimeter. You really don't get to see the difference unless you put them side by side. Okay? One frame of 35 millimeter, one frame of 120 medium format. Okay? That's the size comparison. Ooh, subliminal message. All right. Let's put this away, because I do not like having my negatives out of their little glassine protective home. All right. Let's put this away. You gotta bear with me. Old habits, hard to break. 35 millimeter. We'll put that in the glassine envelope as well. Okay. And we'll put that away. All right. Now that you've seen the difference in the size of 35 millimeter frame compared to a 120 millimeter frame. Now that one happens to be a 6x6 square, right? Remember I told you it could be rectangular, right? 6x7, right? 6x9, right? That negative is about a 6x9 medium format 120 film negative is about twice the size as the one I just showed you, which was 6x6. Now, what's the difference and why, once you shoot medium format film, will you fall in love with it? And you may not know why, technically, but you'll just know it. You'll feel it. Here's why. And I'm going to use the analogy that a tattoo artist told me. A tattoo artist came up with this analogy. He's like this. He's like, Carmine, let's say you come in and you want a tattoo of an anchor, a ship anchor with a chain wrapped around it, right? And maybe somebody's name, right, on there. And you want rope, right? Like a rope you would throw from a ship, right, to the dock, right? You want rope to frame it, okay? Let's just say, keep that picture in your mind. So he says, Carmine, let's say, well, I could take these gloves off. They do make your hands sweat, but it saved my pictures. Okay. So you want this tattoo. Now, he said, as a tattoo artist, you ask your client, how big do you want it? Right? It's a fair question. You want it on your arm, your upper arm, nice and big, right? Say you want it 4 inches by 6 inches. That's a lot of real estate. Keep that in mind. Or do you want it on the inside of your arm, right? Postage stamp size. You want it over here. Same tattoo. Here. Postage stamp size. On your upper arm. 4 inches by 6 inches, let's say. He said, Carmine, the large tattoo will have so much more detail than the little tiny tattoo postage size. He said, it's the same exact tattoo, leaving nothing out. But when you have this much area, the details show up. When you have this much area, the details are hard to see. They're there, but they're hard to see. I hope you can understand that. All right. Wow, 40 minutes. Again, 40 minutes. And we haven't even held up in detail a medium format 120 camera yet. I don't want to go too long. So what did we cover? We covered the film, how much, where to buy it, freestylephoto.biz. We've covered the size of the negative. We compared and contrasted the size of 35 millimeter versus medium format. And I gave you the reasoning why that medium format even exists is that, remember my friend at the tattoo shop, a larger tattoo will have more detail than the same tattoo the size of a postage stamp. All right? I would be in trouble if I didn't say subscribe right here, somewhere over here. Hit the subscribe button. Only if you want to. No pressure. This is a no pressure zone. All right? Wow, 41 minutes. All right, guys. This has been volume 8. I'm going to make sure I keep track this time. Not like yesterday when I kept saying volume 8 and it was volume 7. Oops. All right. So, we have so much more to go through, so much more to learn. I hope you're enjoying this because, like I said yesterday, I love photography. I love telling you guys what I know, my experience. 48 years in photography, all this different aspects of my journey being a photojournalist, freelance photojournalist. Stick around. You're really going to learn things that you just never thought of. You're going to enjoy it, I'm sure. All right, guys. Have a great day. Have a great evening, a great morning. And if you can't sleep, watch this video. Maybe I'll put you to sleep. Take care.